Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful Monday. It is the 3rd of January of a brand new year of 2022. Okay, it seemed like it took a minute to get here, but it is here. As you see on the screen is my very distinguished and longtime friend, Francis Revels that will be joining us in a moment. But while y'all, I like that fedora that brother has. Hey, listen, we'll talk about that later on. But anyway, want to let you know. Please like, share, and subscribe. That's very important. Let me do something here a second. Okay, and there we go. So please like, please share, please subscribe. Okay. Um, right now, as far as the cosmic forecasting, for those that may not be familiar, this is live with Lloyd, where the joy of learning is with the joy of numerology, I should say, is the joy of learning and enlightenment. And as for the cosmic forecast, the sun is in the earth sign of Capricorn. As of 5:44 this afternoon, it went into the air sign of Aquarius. It is a 7 universal month. Now, people know that 2022 is a 7 universal year, right? So the year is 365 days in length, but they got divisions called pies or months that have their 30 day, with the exception of February, every now and then 29 days. But in the meantime, what I do is you take the personal year, the universal year, which is 2022, you add it to the first position month, which is January, and thus January of this new year starts off as a 7 universal month. And it just so happens that my guest is a 7. I'm a 7. So you couldn't arrange it any better than that. Also, it is an 8 universal week, which means this is a good way to think about the things you want to do and how you want to get things structured as far as your career, your finances, or especially relationships are concerned, and how much growing up you're going to be doing as a result of looking at these areas of your life. And it is a 1 universal day. And that's very simple. All you got to do is say January the 3rd, add it to 2022, and that will factor out to a 1. So anytime you're not sure, or let's say you got a child that's born tomorrow or next week, you just take the month, the day, and the year that event occurred, and that will tell you the destiny of that particular child that you brought into this world. But anyway, I'm going to bring on my very special guest here. His name is Brother Revels. Brother Revels, how are you, sir?
I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm healthy. I'm smiling and I'm
Yeah,
laughing.
yeah. You've been on that one. Happy New Year to you, buddy. You know.
Thank you. Happy New Year to everybody.
Well, you and I are numerologists. They now, I think when we were coming along, numerology was a very kind of like low key thing. Now numerology is very, very popular, very
Hmm.
much all over the place. I think we was doing it. There was typewriters. There was no internets. There was
Oh
no
God.
none of this other than the word numerology. Who? So, what are
Yes.
your thoughts back then versus fast forward now to the 21st century in the new year 2022?
Well, as they say in the street, who would have thunk that we would be around this long and surviving through all of this technology? I was just talking to somebody the other day. They said, "Do you know what a beeper is?" A young kid. I said, "Yeah, I used to have two of them." The phone
Listen,
number would come up, but then you had to go find a phone.
I remember one time if you had a beeper, you were automatically assumed that you were a drug dealer,
Yes,
at least
yes,
in our communities.
yes, and I had two of them. So
So you was really handling your business, you
yeah,
know?
the drug dealer and the cop, like, who's this guy?
Yeah, that's right. Because then we had to get the beep, then we had to go get the phone number.
Oh,
Wow, that is
there's a
true.
lot of work, a lot of work,
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of work.
So, and yet you can't do anything without numbers, though.
You can't, you can't. Everything is numbers. Time of day is numbers. This computer is number.
Yeah,
Everything, every word that shows up here, some computer tech will tell you is symbols and numbers that make the address like this,
yeah,
and to get
yeah,
it down to here. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, this numbers being utilized all the time.
As a
Yeah.
professional numerologist and probably one of the masters in this, what is your assessment of 2022. It's just only day 3, and we got a whole lot of days in front to go. But how do you see
Yeah.
2022 from your perspective?
Well, when I look at the numbers, I see, the three twos are there, the six is there. There's a compound number 24 back there, but there's the constant number, which is 20, because we say 2022. So we actually say the word 20 twice. 20, 20, and then 2.
How'd you get to 24 though?
Well, if you take the 22, even though it's a master number, if you add those two digits, you get a 4. You add that to the 20, there's a 24. Or you can do it the other way around. You can reduce the 20 to a 2 and add that to the master number 22, and you're going to get a 24, which is a 6. So when I look at it that way, to
Got it.
me, people born on the 24th of any month will have a good opportunity to be able to upgrade themselves a little bit, express themselves in different ways, to more or less come out of the closet of being quiet about their talents and skills and actually start putting them into motion.
Hmm.
Also, when we look at that constant number being 20, symbolically, I think that represents Pluto. And Pluto represents, rebirth, transformation, and regeneration. And so throughout the year, the millennium of 2000, people are constantly remaking themselves over and over and over to try to find that part of themselves that can stand out so that they can be seen, so that they can be heard.
Hmm.
And what I find during this time, there are a lot of people stepping into healing fields, whether it's Western medicine, Eastern medicine, African, types of medicine, medicinal modalities, you
Hmm.
know, um, the Aboriginal from going across into the Native American, or everybody's stepping back into that now. We're all being urged on some level to do that, to reintroduce ourselves to Earth, and what the Earth is all about, and how we need to start balancing ourselves more. And it's unbelievable because I started studying meditation when I was 21. At 21, actually not 1971. So I was about 19, 18, 19 in college. And I fell in love with meditation. I was meditating all the time. Sometimes I'd be late for class because I'd be in the woods meditating. So, oh man, I got a class in 3 minutes.
Why do you think people? There's some people. I mean, majority of the people have heard of the word meditation. Quite a few have practiced meditation. But what would you say, based upon that, since you were a kid, that has become the magic of meditation, if that makes sense?
The magic of meditation is basically really reconnecting with yourself, to connect what is known as your higher self, which is the divine aspect or reflection of God in you. So people do it when they practice yoga. Yoga means to yoke up to the divine source. And the purpose for doing all of those different postures or poses, also not only cleansing the body out, the different meridians in the body, but it's also making the body pliable so it can sit in meditation for a long period of time if that's what a person wants to do. So meditation is the act of finding your center of being who? Your divine self, and
Um,
begin to work
that's one
through
of the
that.
best explanations I have heard. Now, when you talk to people about meditation, they're saying, "Well, I'm trying to still the mind." You don't actually still the mind. You can never still the mind, right?
No, the mind is always running.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
mind is going, that's because people should look at our eyes as being cameras. So our eyes are taking in billions of bits of data all day long, and thousands of bits of data. So you're constantly taking in this information, you're constantly analyzing it. And those things that you don't analyze, you're kind of leaving them to the side. So you don't really quiet the mind. You just learn how to not pay attention to all of those thoughts and bits and pieces of information until you get to a point where you become very quiet and very still on the inside. And once you get there, now you could still be aware of the things that are going on. You just don't react to them. You,
Interesting.
you want to
Interesting.
act responsibly, but not overreact to anything.
Because I know you have got the creative pathwork meditation that we're going to discuss.
Hmm.
And although it is not a primary meditation show, but I think this is an ideal way to begin the year because we try to make resolutions, we try to make promises. Normally, the first couple of weeks or days or whatever is stressful or challenging. And yet,
Hmm.
meditation would be probably the best way for everybody to go. I'd like to ask questions such as
Hmm.
when a person starts meditating, do they have what's the length of time? Do they should they meditate beginning 5 minutes, 10 minutes,
Yeah,
20
the
minutes or
first thing a
professional?
person should do is because you got to get accustomed to how you breathe. Okay. So, what people want to really get into is their breathing first. And I always tell people eventually you're going to breathe just like you did when you were a baby. When babies breathe, the belly, the abdominal kicks forward. They're inhaling, and it pops back in when they're exhaling.
Hmm.
Yogic masters do that all the time. They use that from underneath the diaphragm, underneath the lungs and the
You mean
heart.
you don't chest breathe? You don't chest
Yeah, yeah. You don't really want to chest breathe because if you chest breathe, then you get into panting. So when you have emergencies, right? You normally don't go like the baby and breathe out, like breathe in like that with the belly. People go like when a person's running, right? That's
Yeah.
up here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if
Mm-hmm.
you can control the breath over a period of time, you could be a runner. And now, after you finish done running, instead of you just
Mm-hmm.
now
Because the
people,
diaphragms is doing the breathing.
yeah, and people who have studied the martial arts know that when they do those kata breath breathing, that's a whole body breathing, slow
Mm-hmm.
breathing,
Mm-hmm.
and excelling. They're using the entire body, but they're using the abdominal muscles in which to do it to pull on the diaphragm.
So ideally, if a person is new and they're just hearing this conversation for the first time and their interest is now peak about, let me try to see if I can center myself through meditation. Um, how
Well,
long ideally should they take? The first.
I would say for the first week, try to spend no more than 10 minutes a day for the first week. But yeah, and you also during that time are going to find out what is a better time for you to meditate. Not everybody is a morning meditation person. Some people are midday. Some people are the early afternoon around 2ish, or that mid morning around 10. Some people do it better at night because they don't have anything else to do, so they can relax more. You'll find all that out as you're going through these practices. So the first week, you should try to like work on your breathing. Come back to the way you breathe for at least 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. And what you want to do, what I tell people to do is inhale to 4 seconds, what feels like 4 seconds. Don't hold the breath at the top of the inhalation and just release the breath, exhaling, and don't hold it. Don't try to push it out. Just go with a flow. So it would sound like this if I was counting the seconds. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, like music. That upbeat is when
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
switch over to exhale.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhales. See, so you get
Mm-hmm.
into it, and everybody will find their own rhythm. Not everybody can nail it right on the spot,
Yeah, right
but
out the gate. Yeah.
yeah, but you find your rhythm of breathing first. As you do that, always pay attention to how that feels to you. Okay, because it's all internal, how you feel while you're doing it. And then the next week, try to add another 5 minutes in. And what can happen, what can very well happen after the first 7 days, the next 3 days, they add 5 minutes. And the next 3 days after that, 3 or 4 days, they add another five. So the second week, now they're at, 20 minutes because they've grown accustomed to sitting for 20 minutes. And
Mm-hmm.
then the
Mm-hmm.
following week, you add another 10 minutes. And by the time you get in that fourth week, you're at a half hour.
That's interesting
You
because
don't have to do any more than that.
I think people feel that when they meditate, the mind must be absolutely still. That's impossible. like
No.
you said, because we are so bombarded with countless numbers of information daily through our eyes, via TV, through phones, through whatever the case is. It's just so much. And I think the more people try to quiet the mind, the
Hmm.
more active it becomes. And I tell people it's like saying, don't think of the color orange. Well, the first thing you're going to think about is orange, you
Well, we
know?
used to have a joke. I used to have a joke in my meditation classes that I learned in some Zen classes. Sometimes a person says, the real joke of this matter is try to be detached from the world.
Yeah,
And you can't.
it's impossible.
Because then, but once you get there and you're detached, now you're attached to being detached. Because all they're telling you is you don't want to knock yourself out trying to to do everything. It all happens in layers and steps. You'll get to a point where you can feel that quietness within yourself. You can feel quietness around you. And it's already been proven that, Book of World Records, with Deepak Chopra and all these other people having millions of people meditating at the same time, affecting their neighborhoods, their environments.
That's interesting. Well, and now one more question, and
Mhm.
then we're gonna let people chime in and stuff. Some says there's an ideal time, but I think you've answered it in a way. There's an ideal time, like maybe in the wee hours of the morning, like 4 or 5 o'clock, when a certain energy is level. But everybody has a different chemistry. I think
Yeah, you
what you're
can.
trying to
If you
say.
use the Chinese five element system, your lungs are really relaxed and open and clear between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. So to let everybody know, I've tried all times. So one of my best times is from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. because the lungs, they call that lung chi. So your lungs are real strong and you're at your deepest hour of your sleep in most cases. And the energies rolling around on the planet per se are kind of quiet. So that's one of the times in which you can. Not everybody can get up and be prepared to do it. So use what time is available for you, and eventually you'll find that time. Also, along with that is consistency, because you're going to build up your energy level. So let's say if your body was accustomed to 2 p.m. and now you switch and you're doing 2 a.m., your body is still registered at 2 p.m. And now you got to fight off sleep and everything else. So you got to do, there's a lot of other things you'd have to do, like don't eat late at night, things of that nature. If you feel
Mm-hmm,
like you got to eat something, have some soup or
mm-hmm,
drink some
mm-hmm,
tea or something like that,
mm-hmm.
because you got to let the body rest so that you can get deeper into these levels. And
All I know is
you
I've
can't
been
rush anything.
meditating, and there is definitely, without question, a shift. A shift sometimes that I can't quite explain. But as I told a couple of my children, there's a shift. That's all I
Hmm.
know. It's just an interesting shift,
Hmm.
and so I think it is great. I think it is great. I used to do it, then I lost contact, and then over the last year or two, I've just been meditating, and boy, what a difference it's made. And maybe I'm at this point in my life where I can really, really appreciate meditating and what it has done. You know,
Yeah, because now you can compare it to where you used to be when you weren't using any form of and there's all kinds of meditations, all kinds,
what do you mean?
I mean, I once was participated back in the '80s. I was asked to do guided meditations, which I'm well known for in my area. So doing guided meditation, and I led these people on a guided meditation in this Zen hall back room that was so intense that the deer that normally roam around in the back were looking through the window at everybody in the classroom, like.
Interesting.
And that place was on three sides, had windows, and all of these deer were like their nose up against the glass, like looking, trying to touch, like what are they doing in there,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
vibration was that high. People, we talked to some of the Zen teachers afterward. This is up in Monticello, New York. One of the guys told me, he said he couldn't go to sleep, he could feel our energy. He came downstairs out of his sleep and joined us. He sat in the hallway.
Yeah, there is power to meditation, especially when done collectively,
Yes.
like that you can feel the energies and stuff like that. And then It increases the immune system, the center of focus. It just does so many benefits that a person can Google up and look for themselves. And so,
Mhm.
what started you on creative pathwork meditation?
Well, from there, after meditating, being in meditation groups in college and trying out different sources, I hadn't read anything on guided meditation, and I was trying to figure out how to do it. And then I ran across this writer, Shakti Gawain, who wrote a book on creative visualization. And I said, "Oh, that's like close to what I'm trying to do." And I read a little bit of her book, and I says, "Oh, this is what exactly what I'm trying to do." But when I started doing guided meditations and started introducing it to groups of 50, 60, 70 to 100 people at psychic fairs way back in the late 80s, there was one thing that I was not able to do with the audience, and that was answer their questions properly.
Hmm.
So the mistake was I had to learn how to take that journey myself while guiding them into the journey. And after about 10 months, I triggered it, and I am still able to this day to put people through a guided meditation and also be in the meditation myself for myself and really tune into what's going on in the room and then bring them out of the meditation and stay plugged in. So now when they're asking me questions, I know exactly what they're talking about from person to person.
But I guess you have to live the experience in order to make that happen too.
Yeah, you have to, and you can't rush it. There, when I did in the beginning, like 80s, 90s, then I started developing my own meditations. When I worked in Jersey at a place called the Wise Man's Bookstore, I was like channeling up meditations on the bus coming across the river. Before I landed, I had whole things of meditations to use. I've had as much as almost 400 meditations, some that were called up on the spot. But what I did after I guided them for 30 minutes, I would pull them out of the meditation. I would stay plugged into the energy. Then I go around and give everybody a mini reading, what I
Okay.
saw that was coming up around them.
Now, I've got, there's a lot of people coming through your name on Facebook. I guess these are people that follow you on Facebook.
Yeah, I
If
kind
you
of
can
tagged them
name.
in because they wanted to know when are we going.
Okay, okay. And also, what I want to do is, and you do take readings and stuff like that too, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Of course you do. That's what you do. And in
Mm-hmm.
fact, I had no idea we were going to get into meditation. It's just something that
It's
maybe
a
maybe it
fascinating
was meant
subject.
for us to go in this direction in the beginning, so people can learn how to still the mind with all the craziness, all the pressure, all the doubts and things we're having, so people can learn how to be more centered. I do have another one. This person is, here we go, Rebels Bay. This person is Joanne Bloomfield. She's born 10/6/1962, and her time of birth is 7:45 a.m., which
Well,
means her sun is somewhere probably in the eighth house. No, excuse me. Her sun has got to be somewhere around the 11th or, yeah, about the 11th, 12th house, somewhere around there. Anyway,
okay.
what say you about Joanne Bloomfield, born October the 6th?
Okay. Well, this is interesting. The way I kind of figure the numbers, I take them back to their birthday. So last year was a universal 5. And so when she hit her birthday on 10/6/2021, that gave her a 3 personal year that she's in right now. So it's all about creativity for herself, self expression, also learning how to say what's on her mind, and to also be very articulate. But I would say that right now, one of the things she needs is a lot of rest, because she's definitely one who gives. Now, she's born on the 6th, and that 6th number, communicates with 2022, and
Mm-hmm,
that's the
mm-hmm,
6th. So
mm-hmm.
she's going to find herself being in service to other people a lot, and that's going to be important. And with her destiny number being a 7, she's here to learn about her spiritual nature, what she can offer to the world spiritually, where she needs to go. So she might want to look into things like meditation, or maybe study herbs, medicinal things, aromatherapy. Maybe she might go into crystals. She might go into sound therapy, but she'll have to, experiment with these things, which will help find her, give her greater clarity and purpose for herself.
You know what's so amazing? What you did not know, and to show you how point you are, this coming Wednesday's guest, her forte is sound therapy. So
Mm.
that's going to be good. But I'll introduce that at the end of the show. Now I've got another person. It says my birthday is November the 7th, 71, and they say they love meditation. They put all
Ooh.
caps on it too.
Well, thank you. I'm glad they do. I'm glad they are loving it. Well, I see that this person, we got this, has a 9 destiny. And the 9 destiny and life path number also is a spiritual journey too. But it's learning everything that can be learned and try to put everything into good use. And being that this person is born on the 7th, and that puts them a water number inside of a water sign, but it's a fixed water sign. So what we got this, what you need to keep in mind is to stay balanced as much as you possibly can. And with that nature of the 7, you know how to cut through things. So you're going to make things very simplified for yourself. I'm also hearing you need to meditate on your dreams.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Now here's another one where soulful vibration sound therapy. She said, yes, meditation sound bath works just like meditation music soothes the
Hmm.
mind as you
Hmm.
concentrate on the sounds. Have you
Hmm.
taken Revels Bay meditation sound baths? And how does it work for you?
Uh, well,
Because
I haven't taken the sound bath yet, but I used to work with people that also, one woman out here had a table. I forget what the table was called, but it had strings underneath the table, like real thick guttural strings. And when you lay on the bed, she would stroke these strings. I guess that might have been a way of sound therapy that way. I've
hmm
sat in chambers where she had a small room where she had these humongous gongs and tubes, the metal pipe tubes, and have that play over your body. So there's so many different ways. You're not really stuck. Some people don't like to use sound. I know people that can't handle the use of sound because that's not what they're acclimated to at this point. So it's different for everybody. Some people need absolute silence. Some people need the sound. I've used sound sometimes just to um, flatten out any noise around the room so that, yeah, you begin to pay attention to the sounds and then the sounds work on your body. But some people can handle it, some people can't. It's a matter of self-study, though. You got to find what works for you, and there's no shortcuts. You just have to really work at it and really open yourself up to it.
Okay, now here's an interesting thing. It says they have a reading with me scheduled in 1 minute, and they have their confirmation. Well, Debbie Buchanan, God bless you. I evidently did not check. Hold on, let me so get on the screen so she can see me too. She was reaching out to me and said she had a reading schedule. I may have dropped the ball. I have done that on occasions, not that I meant to. Okay, but the point is that when this session is over, I will call you back and we will go from there. It does happen. You know, it's interesting. We as Evans, both you and I, we got this thing about perfection, and sometimes we think that things got to be perfect free when in the real world, nothing is perfect. But yep, she said she had it for January the 3rd at 22, a mini session. Debbie, we will take care of you soon as this special guest of mine and I have finished. Let me see something. Oh, here's a person, Rebels Bear, got an interesting question. She says, what can you tell her? Can you tell me more about a 5 personal year? This is Kimberly.
Okay.
She didn't
By the
give a
way,
birthday. She just said, can you tell her more about it? So she must have a sense that she's in
yeah,
a 5 personal year.
yeah. Well, 5 is a fast moving number. That's what it suggests. So I would suggest that you get a lot of rest throughout the week, throughout the day. Sometimes take a lazy day off from work and really just relax your mind and relax your body. It's a number that represents Mercury. Mercury rules over Virgo and Gemini. So you might take a page from each one of them those signs, the best of the best out of them, and utilize that in your life. But also, since it deals with moving fast, moving quickly, if you're someone that's driving, pay attention to the speed limit and don't let yourself go over. You might be targeted for fast driving. Okay. Also, with that five personal year, five is the ability to adapt to anything that's going on around you. So if you're invited to, let's say, some social gathering or a conference and it seems to be very hectic, you will be able to fit in without being overwhelmed by that vibration. So it's an opportunity for you to pay attention to what you're looking at and pick out what is best for you and then move accordingly.
Okay, good, good. I have this next one from somebody you know, one of our favorites, Brandon Jamal Smith, born October the 20th of 88. He says, anything about relationships and business for him, sir?
For him. Well, this person, if I take him back to when he had his birthday in 2021, he's in an eight personal year, all the way up until the day before his birthday. So anything he starts during this time will be a beginning stage of business wise. He may need the next 2 years to see it become more established. So this would be the time for him to market, to teach as much as he can teach, to also not become overwhelmed by too much. So the whole idea for you, Brandon, is don't put a lot on your plate. Put a few things on the plate that you like and that you want to do and exercise those things. So in your business, if it calls for doing consultations or healings and things of that nature, set up a few during the week, but do not overwhelm yourself. So if you find yourself one day you got five clients, don't try to put five clients into the next day. Leave a gap because you need to rest the body. In terms of relationships, you might have some people come from your past, might want to pop back in, but you're gonna have to think twice if you want to like get yourself re-involved with the past. But if you start a new relationship, then under this eight vibration, what you're looking for is a real deep rooted connection. You're going to need patience, and the person that comes into your life is going to need patience. And also, once they know what you do, they have to be able to work with that.
I guess they won't have no choice knowing Brandon as I do. Now, this one is from a gentleman, interesting enough. His name is Filthy Rich, okay? And he is born on the 17th of June of 1983 at 3:40 in the morning. So
Wow.
that means he's somewhere around the, how do we do that if it's three? So he's probably around in the second house, somewhere
Mm,
around the second house, I would imagine this person. But
mm,
it's interesting because he's born on the 17th. One plus
hmm.
seven is eight, or called the
Eight.
number of immortality. So
Yeah.
I can understand him getting in part of that name Rich in that sense. But what say you about him?
Well, that 17 is interesting too. People who are born on the 17th have to protect their reputation and they become well known. They'll have a lot of friends in their life. People who are born on the 17th, if I'm not mistaken, Muhammad Ali. I think he was January 17th. You got Michael Jordan, the basketball player, February the 17th. So people who have that 17 number, they will attract all kinds of people. So be very particular, Mr. Rich, about anybody that comes into your circle and why they are coming into your circle. And they need to bring something to the table at the same time. I was just kind of looking at your numbers here, and I just want to make sure I got it right. Yeah, you have your life path or destiny numbers an eight too. So you want to make sure again, like whoever's in your circle, that they're in the circle without ego, because that's not going to help you because you're trying to run, if you're running businesses or that 617 Gemini 17, you could wind up running a couple of businesses, being an excellent entrepreneur, but you got to be able to trust people, and you're going to have to watch out for that. So you're going to have to make sure people are trustworthy.
Okay. What about this particular person, V. Darrow? She's born on the 24th of February of 83, the same year as Filthy Rich. and anything about career and money changes. And that's
Wow.
interesting
Okay.
because 6 has to do with money, just like the number 8.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, people who seem to handle money quite well are people who have those birthday numbers that the calendar day numbers either adding the 8, like the last gentleman here, 17, 8, 17, and 26, and 6, 15, and 24. They're pretty good at handling finances. Money comes to them not necessarily easily, but once they get get it in and get the formula down pat for themselves, they're able to hold on to money quite well. And she's born in 1983. So that 1983, even though there's an 11 at the end, it's really a 3 vibration that stands out, a 21 or a 12. So she's going to be creating her way through life, and she's going to be very good at it. And she's a Pisces 24. So she's a person who's always in service, always helping a lot of people. And I'm also hearing motivational speaker.
So, in other words, you have a inner sense of things coming through you too, like clairvoyant.
Yeah, I have that pops up. My ancestors will be chattering. I got some ancestors over here that are telling me that she needs to study motivational speaking. Some people talk about being a coach or a life coach, but they're
Yeah.
saying that this person here can actually, once she gets over maybe the fear of talking in front of other people, that she will light up a stage.
All right, that sounds good. What about Andy G. Andrea Griffith, born October the 19th of 1981?
Wow, wow. The 19 is the sun.
Yes.
Okay, the sun, you're shining bright, shining bright. Your natural born leader. And see 10 and then 19. So 19 is a 10. So 10 and 10 is 20. So she's here to help transform the world, but also transform herself. And her birth year adds to a 1. So that means her destiny, her life path number is a 3. So she's
Mm-hmm.
going to be very creative with things too. Very independent thinker. You like thinking for yourself. You can work for other people, but you work best as in a leadership capacity.
Okay. Okay. Here we have Antonia, a water sign with a water number, born October the 29th of 1973.
Wow, 1973 is a 20.
Yeah, it certainly is. Certainly is.
And so she has a life path number of 5. So she's here to learn how to make changes, work comfortably with changes. But that 29 is a very powerful number. She can deal with details and she does things thoroughly. So if you were to ask her to come on board to work on a project, she's going to make sure everything's in order, everything's together, and she's going to make sure that everybody has their part to play. I have a feeling with her that sometimes if she's working in group settings, she's the one that can really pick up all the puzzle pieces and really can see the vision and how something is to go.
Okay. Let's try this one. Lin Lin, who was born on February the 23rd of 1991.
Oh, a lot of Pisces popping in.
Yeah.
Pisces people.
Yeah.
Well, here's that now. Now, 23. There's two things, two words I attach to that number 23, and that is either one is always surviving from day to day, or they learn how to thrive. When a person can learn how to thrive, what's happening is they're looking at all their talents and skills that they have, and then they take that and move forward. So she might be exposed to a lot of different things in her life. On one level, she can man the phones. On another level, she can map out a whole program for a group to follow. On another level, she can step in and run somebody's business and then be thinking, how can I run my own? She has that quality to do that. Now, the nature of the 23 is very interesting because I found that a lot of 23 people know a lot of different things. They may show you just a little bit of what they know, which is okay because they're trying to discover and rediscover who they really are. And our life path numbers are 9. And so when I see that, That means again, you might learn a lot of different things. There used to be a phrase that used to go with that, and that's the people say a master of this, and a master of all trades, but you only know one thing. But
Yeah, yeah.
what I want to say is reach for the impossible. This is the phrase I'd use. Reach for the impossible. That way you pick up all the possibilities. In other words, you will expose yourself to a lot of different opportunities to learn things, and you'll find out which thing works best for you.
Okay, we have this one from Arat Maya, who is born on April the 13th of 1970 in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Mm. Now, 13, that's the number of power and dominion.
Yep.
Which means eventually you come into your own. So you learn what life is about, you learn the basics, you learn the foundation, and then you're able to move forward. What you want to do though is try to move at your own pace and not move according to the paces of other people. Also, at the same time, I'm seeing like your life path number is also a 7 here. And so you're the type who can see a big puzzle piece and see what really works and what doesn't work. But you also are a person who you'll see everything, but you don't waste anything either. Like if she was building, he or she was building a project and has some pieces left over, they don't throw them away. They say, I can use this later. They don't
Hmm.
waste anything,
Hmm.
because they know at some point that those things that they put aside will play a part later. And sure enough, when the opportunity comes up, it triggers their memory and they go get those pieces and put them into play.
Now we have one here, Professor Reed, which is May the 5th of 1980.
Wow. Now, you notice the zeros have come up at the end, right?
Yes, that's
The
right.
zeros have come up. And now this is very powerful here too. Fifth month, fifth day. And fives are very youthful in appearance. Sixes are also. People born on numbers that add 6, 15, and 24 were people born on 5, 14, and 23. They're very youthful in their appearance. So as they get older, it looks like they even get younger. And they also have a lot of energy. And a lot of people, Professor Reed, will look at you all the time. Will always be studying your movements and what you're saying all the time to other people. What I also find out that's very interesting here is that your life path or destiny number is a 1. I just kind of did it real fast. I pop out, I see the 19. So it'd be good for you to put a smile on your face, and if you're around people, keep that smile very strong internally, because you are a kind of person that sometimes people may attack a little bit because they may not understand why you do what you do. And you're not here to really explain it in detail. You know certain things. Meditation will definitely help you to quiet the mind, but not really quiet your mind, just to get you more centered so you can do what you need to do.
Let's try this one. Karima Iwa. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, or Iya. Iya. She is born on June the 6th of 1984 at 6:06. That's interesting.
Wow.
Born on a 6-month, 6-day at 6:06.
Right. Her
Yeah,
birth year is a master number 22, which is a 4, makes her life path number a 7 as well.
yeah.
So she has that strong 6, so 6 and 6. So what is interesting too, having that quality that she has, she could be like the teacher's teacher. She could be the healer's healer. Um, One of the things I think is do as much as you can do, but save some for yourself. Don't overdo it. Save a lot for yourself because you're constantly putting out all the time. And something is telling me to tell you to maybe create a blog, write, do something that will help you, Karima, get your thoughts out into the world.
Okay. Next, we have Kimberly, who is born on October the 28th.
Hmm.
And what do you say about this one?
Okay, this is very, very unique. Kimberly, one of the things I see with the number 28, uh, what what you're able to do all the time is try to go with your gut feeling and learn how to trust what you're feeling. What I have found with some 28 people, and I've only seen it not so much with Scorpio, but I've seen it like with the other Mars rule sign, which is Aries. 28 means you might worry a great deal. So you might overanalyze things. So what you might want to do sometimes is look at an opportunity. If you don't want to jump on it right away, don't beat yourself up about it, but just relax into the moment and try to get the feeling of what it could do for you. Also, with this opportunity, you see here, so you also have a five life path number. But what you want to do this year, I think one of the strongest things for you to do, since your birthday kicked in last year, that was a universal five. So 10 and 28 is a 10, right? So that's a 2 and 5. So you're in a seven personal year. By the way, I'm looking at it, go within. Like we talked about meditation earlier, find a
Mhm,
way to learn
mhm.
meditation for yourself and go within, to quiet internally and hear what the internal message is for you.
Now, this is going to be very interesting because there are two people that chimed in at exactly 7:27 this evening. One is born on June the 23rd, 1982, and the other one, Love Toya, is born on June the 23rd, 1980. They both tuned in with the same month, day, different year, of course, but at the same time they came in. So this is a twofer. What do you say for
Okay.
uh,
What's the one that had the other year?
Marie
1982.
Nicole? That's
Yeah.
June the 23rd,
Just 2
82.
years apart. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And then Love Toya,
Uh-huh.
which is June 20. But they both came in at exactly at 7:27 this evening.
Mm. Well, this is very powerful in itself. Okay. Let me just see. I wanted to get something here. So they Maya have is it Maria has a birth year that adds to two, and Love Toya's adds to nine. So that's what I need to pull out.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
So 6, 5, and 2. So that's a 14, which is a five life path for Miss Nicole. And then for the other one, we have a 20, which is a 2. So very interesting here. When we're doing numerology, people always say, well, what do you do when you got people real close? Are the numbers the same? Often when I do a chart, I have to spend the first week or two meditating on the number to see what the number will say to me before I
Mm-hmm,
do anything. Then I
mm-hmm.
might start and get keywords. So I have a keyword for Marie Nicole, and my keyword for you is balance. There's something about balance. And for Toya, the key word for you is change. Now I don't know why I'm getting it, but something tells me is with Love Toya, it's like you're seeking to make a change somewhere in your life. That change might mean maybe you might want to move or move from where you're at. I don't know if it's move out of the state, move out of the city, but you want some space in your life. Okay. Well, the other lady has balance, which means you might be feeling like you're all over the place and you need to go within to recreate this balance for yourself. Now, if you heard earlier when the other person that had the 23, I think it was the Pisces 23, no matter where the 23 falls, those 23 personalities are some very strong-willed people. So that means to the both of you, if there's something that you really want, 9 times out of 10, you're going to break the bank of the universe and you're going to get it. The thing's like a cornucopia. It's going to start spilling itself out to you, which means you have a very intense mind. You're very good at thinking, you're very good at planning, and you know what you want. And you're not one to be frightened away from your path. It's like you can handle a challenge. You may not look like you can handle the challenge, but internally you have what it takes to overcome obstacles that do pop up in your life. And since you both are born on a 23, which is a 5, you look a lot younger than what your age is.
All right. Now, this one is Jackie Fillmore. She's a Pisces 7 like you. And she has one thing that's interesting. Do you ever see colors while meditating? Does one
Yeah.
have that experience?
Yes, I used to see colors before I would meditate a long time ago. And one time I asked through the journey of my higher self to know when a reading was on, could it give me the colors? And so whenever I saw, like, let's say orange, a pale yellow, that was all me. It was all on me, because that's me mentally thinking and pulling on this energy. When I
Hmm.
get to a green, it was sort of like the halfway point, like I'm reaching out and that hand is reaching toward me. When I started seeing blues and I would get into violet ranges, and I was seeing like right around here on the sides. And now some people would say, oh, that's a medical condition. Well, you get an aura taken, aura photography picture taken. It's not a medical condition. It's the energy that's actually showing up in your auric field. So if
Hmm.
I get a lot of silver, it looks like big silver dollops of light coming on.
Hmm.
I know that's from my higher self within me, my ancestors give me information. I'm just opening my mouth and the words are coming out. I don't have to question what I was saying.
In other words, there was just a trust of your inner knowing.
Yeah, my inner knowing, and I could see it. And we're energetic beings, so this physical form looks hard, but it really is moving at a slow pace. But when you're in the meditation, you don't feel your body, you just feel all this energy flowing.
Well, let me tell you this. Believe it or not, we're 50 something minutes into it, but we're going to go just a little further. But I want to just bring up on here, how can people get in touch with you? Rebels Bay, can you explain everything that you have, please?
Yes. What you can do is, one of the fastest ways is you can use the email. I'm always checking my email. So as you see is IAM dot circle of grace with the number one at the end at gmail.com. You can also text me at my business private number. It doesn't matter. You can text me Monday through Friday, usually 9 a.m. to 6, 7 o'clock at night. You can use that as Eastern Standard Time, and that's 505-220-2583. I'm out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So if you're calling me late, I'm 2 hours earlier than you.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it's a 2 hour difference between where I am and where you are.
Right, right.
Okay, good. Oh, and also there's the Cash App. So if you want to, please, how my thing is. Rebels Bay, almost every guest I've had on here without exception has made a determination to step out on faith. Uh, Rebels Bay and I, we've been out stepping out here on faith thing for quite some time, but please show some love by.
Oh yeah, and I kind of missed that on the Cash App. $ Francis E. Revels BEY.
Oh, okay. Let
I
me.
just, my mind was high as a kite.
No, no. Well,
Literally.
thank you, thank you, thank you. We got to make sure that that is correct, my friend. And there we are, right there, and there we are, right there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let us get it straight. Okay. Don't send no money to someone else. You send it to $Francis E. Rebels Bay with the
Right.
Y on the end of it. And I
Right.
mean it sincerely because I try to explain, and I think our viewers, at least from this segment, gets it, that the people that I have on, it's kind of hard to share their story as to what made them go into this field with no assurances,
Mm-mm.
no cushions,
Mm-mm.
no pensions,
Mm-mm.
none of these things, other than just to do the work of a higher calling, to be of benefit to humanity, to serve and whatnot. Because if it was about the dollar, they'd have all kept their jobs. Trust me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But the
Yeah.
fact that they decided to, so I take the Cash App appeal very, very seriously because I know the majority of the people that I talk to, I know what they go through because I know what I went through. And
Well,
so
you
what I'm
know,
saying is,
so ironically, I got laid off of jobs, and I think the universe is saying, "No, this is your job. You're going to do numerology." So I need a regular job, and I'd go in there, get the job, go home, meditate. And that little voice would say, "You got 2 years. 2 years. What's going to happen? No, you wanted to take this job. You got
Mhm,
2 years."
mhm,
So you
mhm.
better get on that numerology stuff because when they kick you out the door, you got to be running.
Yeah, yeah, because I know I question my sanity about like what's, and and people who do what we do don't have it laid out like a plan, like a
Mhm.
blueprint. Well, when I do this, and then my next step I'm going to do that, and sometimes it's almost as if the creator tests us to see how serious we are about serving humanity, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes. And what it is you learn not to focus on the money.
Yes,
I mean, in
yes.
the
'Cause if
beginning,
it's
you
about the
do.
money, you're not going to do it.
Yeah. You focus on the money, you just get hit with a whole lot of people, a whole lot of craziness, too. I've had some people in my earlier years when I worked at a botanical one time. A guy came in and he says, "I want to get a birth date on this person. I want to know their personality." And I kept feeling the chills, a coldness inside. And I says, "No, I'm not going to give you that information." And he says, "Why not?" I said, "Because you're planning something very devious. And if I give you that information, you're going to make me an accomplice to the crime.
That's deep.
I'm not going to do it."
Yeah, I've had some things similar to where what I teach my students, at least everybody, is to have some ethics in this game.
Mhm, you have to.
Ethics. You got to have some ethics. You got to sleep with yourself, and you cannot use what we do for the evil of people. It's for the benefit of humanity. I
Hmm.
know that sounds kind of corny to some people, kind of like utopian, but that's the deal. That
Yeah.
at least what we do, and for those of us that have stepped out on here faith to help and serve people, it is definitely about that. And know it to block somebody's blessings, know to give them
No.
the wrong information. Like they say, what's the best day? We give them the worst day. No, it's
No.
not that kind of party with us. So,
If you do
uh,
the right thing, the universe, which is in you and everyone else, will take care of you.
well, that's my math as I teach people. If you do the right things for the right reasons, you get the right results.
Yeah.
Simple, simple math.
Hmm.
Nothing complicated.
Yeah.
All righty, so let's continue with a couple of more. And by the way, with what you're doing with the creative pathwork, are you going to be teaching meditation classes soon? For those who
Yes, I'm
are
setting up
interested.
some classes. In fact, I have two groups out of New Jersey that I used to teach a long time ago, and people can join these groups. One is usually done on the first Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have a Zoom account which I use for that, and it's the first Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern for 90 minutes. The cost is, if you're 62 or over, is $25, and if you're younger than, no, if you're 62 and over, is $20, and if you're under 62, is 25. And then I have the first Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what it is I take the whole group through guided meditations. We actually work on something they might want to work on. Like one of the two groups, the young lady needed to feel comfortable about a place she was moving into or a place that she needed to go see. And we went through a meditation. Everybody worked on it together. And within 2 weeks, she was in her place and she's happy.
Good. In fact, we need to make people happier too by sharing with them that you have several books. This is only three of these several that you have. Can you explain your books?
Yeah, Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace is how I got into this, where my late mother, whose name happened to be Grace, she actually taught me some of the preliminary things dealing with a little bit of meditation, but her thing was prayer. She was a prayer person. And she also taught me how to feel energy through my hands, also how to go into dreams and to understand dreams. And in that book, she states 12 things to me that actually did happen. And I write about those 12 things. And it's like a two-parter book, because in the second part of the book, I actually have affirmative prayers and decrees in there that you can use. So that's Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace. That's up on Amazon for $25. The next two books were channeled. I didn't even know I was going to channel the books, but I always had an affinity with Akhenaten. Now, usually they spell his name AKH, like an Akhenaten, but
Mm-hmm.
he came to me in 2006. He said, but it's Akhenaten. I
Let
said, okay.
me get you straight,
Yeah,
okay?
it's Akhenaten. It's not Akhenaten. He said that's the way other people were spelling it, but it was Akhenaten. And I said, well, why is it Akhenaten? He said, because you put the breath into my name, which gives me life in you. And
What
so in
gift?
so in this book, there are 13 chapters in this book, and the gift, which is the wisdom of Nefertiti as I am. They're talking about the divine I am presence in ourselves. In his book, there was a name that I had when I studied with him. I'm not the only one, though. There are thousands of other people who have studied, who have a remembrance. And what I've learned is whatever you're teaching today, that's what you learned back then.
In addition to the gifts, don't you have another one or two books you would like to show us before we
Yes,
go?
I have a book called The Age of Remembrance, The Divine I Am Presence in Selenite. I talk all about this is 13 chapters.
Can you hold up? Can you show that again? Can you show
Yeah,
that again?
I talk about selenite, the gemstone
Wow,
selenite.
that's nice. That's
And
nice, Revels Bay. Good.
this book is the cover is of a tabular that I have in my living room, and I took the picture. People who get the book, they will see that there's faces in the tabular. In fact, here's one looking right at you. He's like a
Wow.
dark eyebrow, a light eyebrow, looking right at
Mm-hmm.
the
I
camera.
see it. I see it. I see it. Yeah,
He's
I
like
see
the
it.
guardian. But I talk about my experience in 1988 when I first came in touch with it and how I've used it. I have selenite all over my apartment. And because of one particular gentleman that we know, there is a prototype course on the Age of Remembrance selenite, course number 1. And I'm working on course number 2, which takes us into selenite as being an obelisk and what the obelisk is actually used for.
And God
And
bless
then,
Brandon for that too. This one,
yeah, this is called Decree and It Shall Be, Speak as I Am. And this is about the 5 vessels. I have a course, and the course is called 5-Point Creative Pathwork System. The system is how to use affirmations, affirmative prayer, decrees, and meditation. But it starts teaching you in the course. I teach you meditation first. And when you click on my website, circlegrace1.us, the first page comes up is about the course. And I look forward to starting that course sometime in March, in the beginning of March. Now, the course is $33. The person would get 5 classes, 1 class every other week, but in between, I'll be tweaking them on each one of the subject matters. And at the end, I have about 4 bonus gifts that they receive. Yeah, it's going to be some audio and perhaps some video material.
all righty. Good enough. Good enough. I'm going to just take a break 1 second. Do not go anywhere.
We
So
also got to talk about Jackie Fillmore.
well, excuse me. Let us put Jackie Fillmore there right now.
Yes, yeah, she's born March the 7th, 1950.
Go ahead,
So
Jackie.
she
Go ahead.
she has that Pisces influence on that 7, so she should capitalize on her spirituality for sure. One of the things I find is that you want to develop your healing, your sense of healing with yourself, and really get into communicate with the cells in your body. That's going to be very helpful. Plus, you're born in 1950. If we add all of those digits together, you are in a 7. You have a 7 life path number. So the 7 is in there twice. So really delve into it. Meditation will help you as well. But I want you to write about your feelings and your thoughts. You might even write about them in poetry and prose, but it helps balance your mind.
All righty. Good. 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 I'm trying to get something. I mean, brother, there's so many people. We would need a little bit more time to get everybody, but we can't at the moment. I am afraid we can't do that. I wish I could. And
Well, I would like to make an announcement
please do. Please
for
do.
people. Last time I was on here, we couldn't get to everybody either. So for those of you who are listening live, And I will say, if you couldn't hear it live and you got it and you came back to it, you have exactly 1 week to contact me, and I will give you a mini reading. I'll email it to you. Just give me your birth month, birthday, birth year, and I'll give you some information on it, and I'll email it to you.
Now, where do they send it to? Us right on your screen. Where should they send
They're
it?
going to email me at iam.circleofgrace with the number one at the end at gmail.com.
All right.
So they have
IA.
exactly 1 week.
Okay, now y'all can fool around if you want to, okay? But it can't be said you didn't get an opportunity and you got 7 days out to do so. I thank you very much for that. And before I go, let me just switch over a second. I'm gonna switch over to me and just let you know that this coming Wednesday, we're going to have this young lady who does sound therapy, gongs, you name it. And her name is Nikki Monty. And this is her here. Hope let me get it there. There she go.
Oh,
And
yeah,
this
I've
is
seen that
this is
face.
her. She is superb. She does things for meditation, um, gongs, bowls, uh, I forgot these other things she's got, but she's going to talk about that and how sound affects everything we do. And it's very, very important and whatnot. So that's going to be good. And this is just another version of this right here, whereby everybody can do this. One last thing I want to let people know is my class is on sale. Where is it? Oops, there we go. So on sale right there. Actually, it's a little different. They says that the top one is $11. They now went up on it $12, and the bottom one they now went up it on $10. But to go to my website lloyd-strayhorn.com and sign up for the free monthly newsletter. All righty, that I got on my website lloyd-strayhorn.com that my partner and I, Kaya French, write, and also like, share, and subscribe. Okay, I'm getting the hang of this at
Yeah.
some point, but I have to remind myself. And for you, Brother Revels Bay, God bless you. Hold on 1 second. Let me get this straight. There we go. There we go. And let me get rid of this here. Okay, hold on. Here we go.
I like to say that, I also have free enrichment training classes. I was doing them every second Tuesday. But I'm taking a slight break, so I might start them up in February. And they're 90 minutes and they're absolutely free. I pick a topic and you come on and I explain it to you. And you get a chance to
Really?
ask
Can you
questions.
repeat that again? What do
It,
you
it,
have that you're gonna
there's
start up again?
Yeah, I'm going to start them up in February. You go on my website, you can read a little bit about it, but it's
Mm-hmm.
called Free Enrichment Training Courses. So it's like a class for 90 minutes for free, and I'll talk about anything. Last year, I talked about the power of meditation. I talked about affirmative prayers and how to write them. So I'll talk a little bit about numerology. I talked about the spirit of grace. Unconditional love. All these different things that have been around me and that I've been able to utilize, and that my late mother blessed me to learn it at a very early age and to put it into use. So they're free enrichment training courses, and they'll start back up in February. And for all of you on the East Coast, it'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for about 90 minutes. So if you would like that information, use my email and says, hey, put me on your list, and I'll put you in there and you'll get that information. I go through a Zoom account and you can get this information and you'll learn a lot.
Well, I'm putting this up one more time because let me tell you what fascinated about what you said about the first book, The Circle of Grace, is that as a result of the things or dancing in the light of divine
Divine
grace,
grace.
it's just the things that your mother told you that came to pass. And mothers have some motherly advice. All we got to do is listen,
Oh yeah.
and evidently you have, and as you see, this is why we're having this conversation.
Mhm.
So, Francis, my distinguished brother, Rebels Bay. Hold on, let
Yes.
me get this out. Thank you very, very much. And I want to thank you very, very much for starting off 2022 on the right note. God bless you too. All righty.
I'm just humbled. I'm glad to be here, And everybody, when I hit my birthday this year, March the 16th, I'm right behind Lloyd. I'll be 70 years old, 70 years young. So be
Yeah,
70,
well,
man.
that's why Richard Price said you don't be old and be no fool. Okay,
That's
so
right.
it just shows if you got to this point, brother, that is so nice. And we'll be one of the first to wish you happy birthday on that day too. All
Well,
righty.
thank you.
Listen, everybody, y'all have a blessed day. I look forward to my guest on Wednesday, Nikki Monty, and talking about the sounds and how they affect you. And she's an ace at this. She might be a little nervous, but she's got another gong to her audition.
Uh
So it's
oh.
going to be fun to see what sounds we get on Wednesday, but more importantly, how they're designed to heal and to serve humanity, as all of you do. God bless you. Revels Bay, thank you so much, man. You have a blessed day, my friend. All
You too,
righty.
man.
And talk to you
Peace.
soon. And everybody out there, thank you so much and Happy New Year to all of you. And don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. It'll take me a minute, but I'm getting there. Okay.